I'll cut this up. You do look good, Ryan, as usual. Look, we're already filming, so you don't have to tell people that. So I'm with Ryan Davidson, and I'm doing chats with CEOs, chats with friends, chats with everything. I like to ask questions about things that they know about in particular. So with Ryan Davidson, he's probably the most incredible salesman I've ever met. Ryan Davidson. Say hello.
I'm okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a very good salesman. So Ryan, I'm going to ask you a few questions today, and we'll cut this up after. And I've got a few lines that I know that you've told me over the years, but let me start with this one. What do you think is probably the most important thing that you need when you're selling? When you're selling to someone, what's like super important to get the deal?
So look, and I think my answer would have been radically different 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago. But what I've learned in the years of building relationships, selling, is that the most important thing is conviction, number one. So if you assume the sale and believe that it's done, and all you're really doing is unpacking the details as to how to execute and finalize and document and memorialize that sale, then that resonates to anyone around you. And they feel that, wow, this is basically done. We don't really have to make a decision because
it's handled.
It's handled and it's infectious. That positive mental attitude when you're talking to a customer in a manner that you've assumed the deal is done, or that they will do business with you, they feel it and it works.
So you know what? That's really funny because that kind of leads me. I'm going to talk for a second to how I met Ryan. And Ryan actually reminded me of this the other day. So I met Ryan. I needed a car, and it was 15 years ago, and I needed a C4. I needed to get into a Porsche badly. And someone said, You got to meet this guy. Or you got to meet this guy, Ryan. You're going to love him. He's all over the place. So I got there to his place of business. And he had a fancy used car dealership, but it was like high-end used cars next to his father's dealership, which was a Chrysler dealership just outside Toronto. So I meet this guy, and I see him. He's got this beautiful white shirt, these gray pants, and I say to myself, "This guy's amazing." And then I go up to him, and he said, "I'm dating this Brazilian girl." And I said, "Show me the girl." And that's a whole nother story. But I said, "I need a C4." I assumed, I was a little bit naive, that I was coming to pick up the C4 that day. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, C4's done. I got there. And Ryan and I had never met. And he reminded me of this, and it's so true. I will never forget this. He's like, don't worry, C4's coming. I hadn't given him a deposit. He barely knew me. He didn't even know me. It was one phone call. He grabbed a pair of keys to this beautiful M3. It was blue. He said, take this. And I was like, oh, great. So I got to drive this like...
convertible.
No, it wasn't convertible. It was a hardtop.
Okay, but still.
But I drove it for months. Like, he didn't even call me. He's just like, don't worry. The Porsche's coming, this M3. And I was like, I don't even know why would I need it? Why do I need to spend money on the car? Anyways, that's how I met Ryan. And that's... When he talks about conviction and it's going to get done, I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just sat on it. Give me this basic... And he's so right when it comes to that. So
it's hard to get there though, right? Because especially if it's a new customer, formal setting, you've never met them, and you're sitting down, you're pitching them, in that moment, it's very tough to get your brain to a state where you're assuming the sale. That's tough. So that's the trick, is that it takes kind of years of maybe not learning that, but becoming comfortable in that moment to a point at which those customers feel your conviction. And that's the key.
Yeah.
That's what takes years to perfect, is actually just being comfortable in the moment. And if you think about it, even in sports, you look at the LeBron James of the world. You see, being great at sports isn't just about having skills. A lot of people have skills. It's about being coachable, but it's also about being able to be quiet in the moment of chaos when everything's going on. The best athletes in the world perform under extreme pressure, and they do it because in that moment, they feel no pressure. They feel calmness. And it's the same in any profession.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to become calm in that moment, because in that calmness, you can, be yourself and have conviction and make other people feel comfortable.
So I really appreciate you say that, because I think that's a life lesson, not only a sales lesson. I've had to learn that because I've had some mental health challenges, and I typically, if a lot of people know me, know I'm very emotional, and I like to react, and I like everybody to be happy in the room, and sometimes that's not always the best, for business, and I've had to learn that. So I think that in my darkest times, it's one of those weird things that's helped me to just kind of calm down, calm my emotions. And so I think you're so right when, with that, Ryan. Now, the second question I want to ask you is, you're a huge entrepreneur, and I mean, you've had different businesses. You've had, typically around the cars, but recently you've been around the battery space in different capacities. Whether it's buses, and now you've got these chargers that are doing so well. Can you tell me about your latest venture and what?
Yeah, so I mean, look, I've predominantly focused on what I've known, which is cars and various, various different businesses that have spawned from that industry. But I think at the end of the day, I love starting new businesses. I love creating. I've always invested in real estate. I've never.
Do you remember when you like product design too? Remember you had the product design
right.
with the phone cover?
That's
Remember
right.
that? Yeah.
Look, you gotta to be successful, unless you inherit a bunch of money or win the lottery. It takes perseverance, and sometimes for entrepreneurs, that's coming up with ideas, executing, and then
some don't work.
And you talk to a lot of people these days. There's all these podcasts, different things, and there's different opinions as to what makes like somebody successful, or what is the definition of success. But I think I've always said, like, I think success to me, and being able to be successful, is having the ability to navigate from one challenge or failure to the next without a loss of enthusiasm.
Ooh,
because
I like that.
That is the key to being to persevere through the greatest challenges, because no matter what, and Elon Musk says, what was his quote about starting a company is like looking into the abyss, eating glass or something. Basically what he's talking about is like, you don't know where you're going. It's very painful. And it is. I mean, you got to just continue to eat glass and look through the abyss and assume that eventually you're going to get to this new planet and find food. Or, I don't know what the end of his analogy is, but the point is that it's very difficult, and you hit walls. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I think like executing very quickly, most people think about things. They're like, oh, I'd love to do this. I'd love to do that. Well, just do it.
Just do it.
If it doesn't work, get off your ass. Do it again. Try something else.
Yeah.
Because eventually, one of the things is going to work.
Show us the Zappy.
Yeah,
You're on that.
Oh yeah, of course. I got Zappy right here.
And
buddy.
on the way here, his phone was dead, and he
Zappy.
said, "Can you get?
Can you get me a Zappy right here?"
I got it from him.
There's
from the
a
ballet.
happy
Look,
face.
there's a
I don't know if you can see
Zappy.
it. Zappy. Anyway, Zappy is just like a play on happy with a Z, because your phone's getting zapped, and you've got these portable chargers which we place all over, and we've got them in stadiums. We've got them. There's a little dog here.
What a cutie!
Very cute.
Look
Look at this.
Another one,
Guys.
Another
Hi,
cutie.
puppy. Hi, puppy. Hello. Oh my goodness, how cute is that?
They are cute.
Very cute. We're like, so.
Yeah, it's my drink.
Hi, buddy.
That's my drink.
Look at his face. He's cute. So yeah, basically Zappy is like, we have them in. We've got them in stadiums. We have them in airports. We have them in the hotels. We just got in Billy Bishop. We're installing tomorrow in the Eaton Center.
Wow,
We're in
Toronto.
DSW in Toronto. We're already in like most of the malls in Toronto. We're in every NHL stadium except for Winnipeg and Ottawa, which Ottawa we're working on right now.
Wow.
Oxford properties, Brookfield properties. We're doing a pilot with Shoppers Drug Mart, 50 stores now. in the U.S. we're doing Dillard's, Macy's, DSW shoes. We just got into Bolero.
Listen, if you want
It's
to
a big list.
if you want to compete with Ryan, he just told you his whole customer
Yeah,
list.
go ahead.
So just
Go ahead. It's all about relationships.
It's all about
Go
relationships,
ahead.
anyways.
Yeah.
And I've always told everybody that it's always
okay.
And so there's two lines that Ryan has there's one that he always uses in particular. It's one of these days I remember I dropped off an old car from him. I said it runs, and I dropped it off at his office, and he gave me like $5,000 for it, but it didn't even run anymore. It just went bloop. He's like, Frank, you dropped off a car that doesn't even run anymore. It was an old guy, and then he's, he always uses this, and I've heard this a million times. It's a long road. It's a long road, and Frankie, we've known each other quite a long time and been through some ups and downs together. Now, Ryan, we're getting close to the end because, we'll cut this up. But I want to ask you about one more thing. We all deal with stuff in our heads. It's funny because some people don't want to admit it. Some people do. But, mental health has become a really big thing for me. And I really want to spread the word that, even good-looking, tall, handsome guys like this can have moments where they feel a little bit maybe shy, or they feel a little bit, something's off, or they've got a little anxiety. What do you do for your mental health that really helps you? Because some people watch this and they say, well, how could a guy like you ever,
it's so funny because it's like me and you, I know you.
Yeah.
I've known you for, long enough that, even back in the day when, you would tell me, I have this anxiety and I can't do this, that. And me, like, I struggled so much with, like, public speaking. And as a CEO, I built a company. I had, at one point, almost 300 people. And it was difficult for me to even communicate to them because of that. And, I dealt with that my whole life. I've always struggled with that. And for me, it was just about, like, getting better every day, little things. And I took like some medication to make it better. But I think at the end of the day, what you realize the older you get, and I think it's like, I've been watching a lot of things on social media about like older, couples or older people that are talking about their life, reflecting back on their life. Some of the things that they ask, what do you regret? I regret not doing things, that scared me, or I regret, spending too much time working, or I regret. And what you start to realize when you look at like older people, because I find that's a great way if you want to figure out, like, as you go through life, as you mature, just look at people that are already there. They're going to give you all the clues, right? And I think like with mental health, a lot of times as you get older, it gets better, right? And it gets better because you kind of build these like habits that help you get through it. But the best habit, in my opinion, to get through it is to do it. To actually do it.
Get through it.
Yeah. For me, like, I hated even taking pictures, cameras. I would never be able to do this. 10 years ago,
as a kid, never chance.
There was a 0% chance that I would do this.
Yeah.
Okay, 0. And
people would be shocked to hear that, right? Like from a guy like
0% chance.
Best looking guy in the city.
But as you go through life and you realize, this sucks, you just do it. It's somebody's like, hey, we have, whatever magazine, they want to do a thing and a photo shoot and blah, blah, blah. Normally, I would be like, no, I'm busy, forget it, I don't want to do it. But the new Ryan, or new as of, maybe in the last 10 years, was like, just do it. Do it.
And it gets easier.
Deal with it. And it was not easy.
Yeah.
But the next time it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And the next time it was a little bit easier. It's almost like just talking about it
makes it easier. No, I know. That's why I think therapy works.
Therapy works
yeah,
because you're telling every time you say it, it cuts it in half.
Well,
you say it cuts in half. Now it's a quarter. Now it's and ate.
I remember I couldn't get on a plane. I would be sweating.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like enjoying the bumps. I'm like, give me more
Buddy,
bumps.
you're the most social guy I know.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone can get up in front of a crowd and just
Spew it.
feel comfortable.
But I
you know?
remember, years and years ago, I was never like that. Like, I
Yeah,
came as a
yeah.
kid from Poland. I was very uncomfortable. Now I'm like, put me up in front of a crowd.
But what did you do?
I don't
you
know.
Do
I just
it.
do it.
You do it
I
every
know.
day. That's what you do.
Thank you very much, Ryan. This has been incredible, and I hope we can do it again.
Okay, buddy.
Woo!